What's up guys, DJ Mike James coming at you again. Today we're going to go over O-clamps, and not all O-clamps are created equal. We're going to show you a little bit of differences in some of these. I'm not sure what you're using as far as trussing or T-bars, or maybe you've got the ProX MK2 Mesa tables like we have, which also have a truss that will mount to those, or a light bar that you can buy with those. But there's a few things you need to know before you do that. Now, if you look across here, I've got a pretty good example of most of the O-clamps that you're going to find out there. There may be some that we don't have here, but I want to give you kind of a rundown of what some of these are and how we use them. And there's a couple different options on these. I'm a big fan of my Cedar's Link O-clamps. I like the style of them. I like that it's not such a deep throw as far as bolting these on and off of your bar, like whatever you're clamping them to, your trussing, your T-bar, your light rod, things along those lines. So first up, we'll start up on this end, and we're going to go through the C-clamps, which are real convenient. The beauty of the C-clamps are, of course, you would mount your fixture on this end. This end would wrap around whatever bar you're putting it on, and this will allow you to pretty much clamp it to just about any size bar that you want. Now, we've noticed that almost all of the thread throughs, they're like an M20. It's a metric. It's like a metric M20 or something like that, and almost zero of the fixtures that you buy are going to have that. And I've recommended to you before to go ahead and get yourself a stepper bit so that you can make them holes just a little bit bigger so that you can actually fit these through. Most of the fixtures will not take this bolt, so you'll have to step that out maybe one or even two steps so that this actually will fit through there. The beauty of a clamp like this is you can mount it to just about any size bar as long as it'll reach the other side. I don't care if it's a 1-inch bar, 1.5 inch, inch and 3/8, 2-inch, which most of the standard Global and Cedar's Link trussing is 2-inch pipe, and this will work on all of those. Good things about these, like I said, you can mount them to any size bar. It is metal on metal, so if you're running a powder coated truss like I do, the metal on metal will scratch that powder coating. These have teeth, as you can see in here, to bite on to whatever you're clamping it to. So anything within this range right here, that's gonna bite onto your powder coat. Now, if you're using, say, a steel trussing like Global or Cedar's Link, which is way more affordable than Global, these aren't going to damage those. I mean, they're not going to scratch them up because they're already silver. They're already that silver raw color anyway, so that's not going to affect that. You can see these are very similar in style. They're different sizes, of course, for different lighting weights. If you have a really super heavy big mover, and you want to put this clamp on it, that would be all right. This is a much smaller variety of the same type of clamp. You can see it has a different mount point. It'll still fit just about any size. If you're running black trussing, this looks good, or it would even look good on a silver. Silver on silver. These are aluminum, I believe, both of them, which is a lightweight. You mount your fixtures on the ends, bolt those on. Next, this is what they're calling a junior. This is an 1 1/8. The reason you would need a clamp like this is, like we said, if you get the trussing that goes with the ProX DJ booth table, you will have to get a special clamp. These are the juniors. They're an 1 1/8. I'll get into some of these because you can adjust the size of the diameter of the plastic clamps, but it will not match up with this because these will go 1 inch, 1.5 inch, or 2-inch. You need an 1 1/8. So if you're running ProX Mesa trussing that supposedly it bolts right onto your DJ booth, you will need this clamp to use it, or you'll be bolting straight through, which is also an option. It's just way more time consuming. So you can see we have these set up 1/8", nice and thick. I believe this is aluminum too. It feels like aluminum to me. Bolt these on right onto your clamp. Your fixtures on this end in whatever orientation you want to put it on the bar. And that way you can aim your lights down, aim them up, what have you. Next we go to what the bigger guys are using. This is a 2-inch steel clamp. It'll fit 2-inch pipe. It won't fit any of the smaller ones. So this is exactly for if you're using Global or Cedar's Link Pro trussing. This will not fit on my truss because mine are 1.5 inches. But again, stainless, seamlessly matched fixture on this end, clamp, whatever orientation. Usually I have my lights on the top of the trussing or pointed out, and that's the orientation that I like to have it in so that I can bolt this on from the back, pinch that on, clamp it in. You'll see there's a locking mechanism on here with a washer, holds that thing nice and tight, right where you want it, positioned perfectly every time. Now as we get into the plastic clamps, these are adjustable clamps, and what I mean by that, this is the ADJ style versus the Cedar's Link style, which I'm a big fan of Cedar's Link, and I'll get into some of the reasons why here in just a second. You can see they're essentially the same, depending on how you look at them. Same thread, same bolt, got metric M20. Again, the difference in this one is, one, the orientation of how that actually sits on there, and then the bolt type. This one is nice. It is metal. It does have a washer. It'll hold your clamp in there. If you open these up, these inserts pop out. As you can see, these are for 1.5 inches, which is what my trussing is. Now you can take that out and you instantly make that a 2-inch clamp. And that'll go on Global, that'll go on Cedar's Link trussing, anything that's 2-inch. You can make your 1.5 inches a 2-inch just by taking out the thing, or the insert. But then you'll see your bolt is exposed at that point. When you have a piece in, it's actually holding that in place, so you're not going to push that out while you're trying to. Couple downsides to these. If you're really cranking these down onto your unit, onto your light or whatever, you will spin the nut in there, and if it gets stuck, you're going to have a heck of a time trying to get that out. You're going to pop these out, trying to rehold these with needle nose pliers to try to get this to undo because it is plastic in there. On the inside, there is a metal bracket that sits down in there, so that you have a metal bracket just on the bottom side, so when that bolt head pulls through, it's not just forcing all that pressure just on the plastic bracketing. It actually has a metal sleeve, like a washer sitting in there. It's oblong with a hole in it, so that this will hold this in place. But with these being plastic, if you crank these things down too tight, you will round that out, and it's going to be, you're going to have a bear of a time trying to get those back in and back out. Now again, ADJ and Cedar's Link are real similar. I think you can tell the difference just from looking at these, just at the bolt points. I like the Cedar's Link because they don't have as far of a throw. Like, you don't really need a lot of distance to get this off and on when you're clamping this on. With these, you can put the inserts in, which are smaller. I don't have one with me right now, but you can make this a 1-inch. So it'll fit on, say, some of the older light stands. Like, I have a set that's smaller and it will fit on that. However, the 1-inch will not fit on the ProX. You have to get 1 1/8. It will not fit. So even if we put the 1-inch insert in here, it is too small. It will not close and you cannot get it to clamp. I do love this style, what I like to call this mushroom head kind of style of clamping. I use the Cedar's Links almost religiously because I don't need that much throw. I'm not running super heavy lighting. It's nice and thick and sturdy. ADJ ones are metal also with a washer on it to hold that thing nice and tight in there. Again, if you use old clamps, make sure you don't pinch your fingers because it is real easy to do. Again, all inserts are not created equal. The different companies, the way that they do their inserts, I think we were sorting through a bag of them here not that long ago, and it was very difficult to get them to match up because they are not the same. For whatever reason that it is, I think the different companies are making their own clamps, the inserts different, and possibly just where the split line is on that. We had them sticking up. You know, you're thinking, oh, I want to switch these out 1.5 inches. Well, you better have the same too, and you might want to check them before you get to the gig. The other thing is my other Cedar's link. I take my trussing in one piece and I bolted up on the top of my van. So I went and got a longer bolt so I could bolt through my luggage rack, O-clamp my trussing on there so I can get it to the gig. I get to do that. But when doing that, when I went to the hardware store, the M20 bolts, the metrics, the heads are way too big for these O-clamps. I don't know if they're special making these just for these clamps, but I ended up having to go with an SAE, which is a 3/8 bolt. I can get them in any length that I wanted, you know, the washers and so on and so forth, so it'll drop right in exactly where the M20 metric went, but I had to switch over to an SAE 3/8 bolt. I, of course, got locking washers because I planned to mount these up there and then not take them down so that they would stay up there. So let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions, particularly about any of these O-clamps. Like I said, they're very, the plastic ones are nice because they are very versatile. They're black, almost all of them. So if you're running silver trussing, that will put you in this spectrum. If you want everything to match and you don't want to see your clamping, you don't want to see any of that stuff, that's why I would recommend doing these stainless steels or the aluminums. Again, on your black trussing, these will scratch your powder coat. These are padded so that they will not do that. So you can put these on a painted truss, you can put them on a powder coated truss. They're nice and soft. There's a plastic insert, nice on, off, lights up, down, minutes as opposed to bolting every single one of your lights through the holes in the factory. And not only that, but you have a lot of choice on where you can put your light as opposed to just not putting them in the factory holes that they put for you on your trussing, and this gives you the freedom to put your light wherever you want. So let me know in the comments if you got any questions or concerns, or you might want to add something to this. If there's another type of clamps or anything that you use that you found that work out really well for you. And as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.